Good morning. It's Saturday morning. We've had a pretty good week here. Also a very rainy week. It's been very muddy on the job site. We've had a couple of inches of rain just this week after a very long dry spell. So while it's good to have the rain, the animals are happy, plants are happy. The work site's pretty muddy. So it was good this week that we finally got the roof on. The roof came in the middle of the week. That was good. That meant that once the roof was up, they finished off doing all the framing. You can see all the girts are in. They're framed for the windows. In fact, we've even got our first two windows in, which is great. And we have a door. I don't know if you can see it behind me. But we have the man door in as well. Person door is in. The mezzanine joists are all in. There is an internal wall that we've framed in as well. Sort of in a weird way, it's sort of suspended above the ground, hanging down from the mezzanine. This is an internal wall where the breaker box goes and where a lot of the plumbing roughing goes. I wanted to have that in, given the sequence of events of what's coming up. So coming up next week, we should finish getting the metal on everywhere. You'll see maybe there's some metal on the side of the building over there. It's black, it looks absolutely fantastic. We'll get metal on the front and on the back, and in fact all the way around, which will be great. You can see the plastic sheeting over the front and the back. That's really just around the windows. That's a vapor barrier. I'll be using closed cell spray foam insulation everywhere, so I don't really need the vapor barrier on most parts, but around the windows we really just wanted to be sure that we wouldn't be letting water into those girts, so we decided to go with that vapor barrier. So yeah, next week we'll get the rest of the framing complete. The last bit of framing to go is the stairs going up to the mezzanine and the plywood that goes over the joists and the metal. And that's pretty much it for construction, or at least for this crew. At the end of next week, I'm hoping to get some trenches dug. It's time for trenching again. We need trenches to get water in. There's a water line somewhere under the ground here. There was a nice clear spray painted line, but that's long gone in the mud, so we may have to relocate that, but hope we can find that water line and get water coming into the shop. We also need trenching going out for the sewage. We also need trenching internally, inside the floor. The ground right now in the floor is 6 inches of gravel. That was compacted beforehand, but it's been all torn up by skid steers and people working in there. So I'm going to trench through that and run conduit for electrical service for floor-mounted electrical outlets. I'm also going to trench in that to run water lines to have a faucet on that side of the shop. That side of the shop is where grinding and welding will be. It's good to have water there. The bathroom's over here, so we're going to need a trench in there for sewer lines and things like that. So end of next week, we should have the building completely done from sort of a structure perspective, and we should have some trenches in the floor for the surfaces that are going in. That means the week after that, which is the week before Christmas, electricians will be in, hooking up the breaker box, energizing that, and running lines for the conduit. I'm having the electricians do everything that goes under the slab because I don't want to mess that up. It's going to be hard to fix that once the slab is poured. So they'll be coming in doing that. I might have a plumber come in and do some of the rough in the bathroom and under the slab for the sewer lines before the slab gets poured. Then the week after that, we're going to do another grade of the gravel that may require some more fill, but getting that super flat, and that's a fine grade that happens before the concrete guys are ready. But before the concrete guys come in, I have to lay insulation on top of that fine graded gravel, because that's what's going to keep the slab insulated from the ground temperature, because the slab's going to be heated. So I'll run that insulation, I'll run PEX through that. Then after Christmas, we'll have the concrete crew come in and pour the slab. At that point, we'll have a pretty usable building. I'm excited. I don't know if we'll have a usable building before the end of the year, before January 1st, but it'll be close. It's really busy around here. We are moving out of the house on tomorrow because we're doing some renovation there. I spent a couple of weeks renovating a workshop here that we're going to be moving into. So we'll be living in a workshop space for a couple of months while the renovation happens. And we have a baby coming in March, so it's busy around here. Anyway, exciting times. Hope everyone's having a good one. See ya.